Welcome to the Healers Café, the #1 show for medical practitioners and holistic healers to have heart-to-heart conversations about their day-to-day lives while sharing their expertise for improving your health and wellness. So welcome to the Healers Café. And today I have with me Debi Carlin Boyle. And I believe this is going to be very inspiring to anyone interested in longevity. So her background is she's a certified health nutrition coach, a distinguished fitness and nutrition expert with an impressive track record spanning over 2 decades enhancing health and wellness. And she's been recognized all over. I'm not going to go into all that. You can read that. But here we have her. And welcome. And yeah, why don't you share really what your passion and your message is and how you help people?
Oh, I'd be happy to. And thank you for having me. It's an honor. It really is. My message has been and always is I am of a certain age. I just had a birthday 2 days ago and I turned 67. And my message has been, and this, mind you, is a second career. It's a midlife career. What happened when I was 54 years old. However, I always had a passion for health and fitness from my early 30s on, but I made a career out of it in my late 50s. So my message is it's never too late to get started to create a life of longevity with quality. And I have this little saying that I use with my clients, my students, and in my workshops when I do my talks, and it's called Age Young. And I help people basically implement the elements that it takes to do exactly that. And it's not as hard, it's not that intimidating. It's just small baby steps that we take one at a time. There's a snowball effect that takes hold. Once you start doing one thing for your health, another thing kind of sets in, and then you start to feel better, look better, and want to be better. And things start, the bad stuff goes away and the good stuff comes in, and you physically see it, you mentally feel it, attitudes change, in some cases like me, careers change, and you get on a path to, I can't imagine anyone that wouldn't want longevity with quality. uh, you know this is our life. We have one vehicle sort of to take care of here, our temple, if you will, to help us have a quality of that life. And there are certain things, and a lot of times it's no real fault of your own, that come into play that knock us down, that take things away from us that otherwise our bodies have a right and want to be, and you're a healer, so but want to stay in its maximum potential form. And we have processed food that comes into play. We're more sedentary now since we've become, a technology world, if you will, with all of our social media and all of our computers. I'm old enough to remember before we had all that. So it's a different day and age, but it also has created an unhealthy population. And
Yeah.
so we have to counterbalance and undo the things that are coming at us every single day and try to be better about how we take care of ourselves. So I always had this goal. So my father died at a very young age. I know I just skipped three different thoughts, but my father died at a very young age. He was 46. And he was sick for quite a while, so I watched his lifestyle changed drastically from age 30 to 46.
Yeah.
Just the quality of life going down. And when you, as a child, when you're watching that, you're thinking, is that what's in store for me? He also had very, very bad lifestyle habits. He smoked, He drank on occasion, he overate, he was very gregarious, he had a very high stress job. He was in computers in the 60s, the head of finance at the Transamerica Corporation, working on computers before we know what computers are like now. And all those things, he didn't exercise, he stopped after college, and all those things came into play. And that's when I realized that when he got super sick, that he wasn't going to be around to walk me down the aisle. He wasn't going to be around to meet my children or my grandchildren or great grandchildren. And that's really, I mean, that's what we want in life. It's full of love and joy that we get from our family and friends. And if you're battling disease, there's
Mhm.
not a lot of joy in that. It takes away. And so I started getting healthy when I was in college based on what I saw from the activity of my father, because my goal at that time was to be able to chase after my grandchildren. And I am not there yet, but I do have a granddaughter. So, and I still have a lot of life left. So I just might meet that goal. And, I've obviously at 67 years old, I've outlived my father. His sister only lived to 60. And so too many people I loved, I saw going the wrong way based on their lifestyle. And I slowly but surely changed mine, which started the things I was saying in the beginning. There was that snowball effect for me. I started to see my hair grow, my nails grow. I had clarity in my classes because I was in college when I decided that this whole processed, ultra processed food life wasn't for me. I started playing tennis because I started to feel better. So I wanted to move. And more you move, the more you want to move. So you take your level up. And that's how I ended up having a side hustle of being a fitness instructor, a cycle instructor, a personal trainer. And that was always just a little side hustle because I had a very high stress job as a television commercial producer for the better part of 30 years. But I'll tell you, that stress would have brought me down a lot sooner and a lot faster. And I could have been on that road that my father was on had I not implemented these healthy lifestyles side by side along with the stressful life. Plus, I was a mother and a wife, and, all those things come into play for stress. And stress, as we know, the hold it takes on our body. So it was important to me to kind of outrun um, that
Exactly,
lifestyle
yeah.
to make my life healthier.
Mhm. And I think often, when you're a busy person and you're living a stressful job, and it doesn't matter why it's stressful, it's stress to your body, right? No matter what. It's
So,
hard to rationalize, oh, I'll also do tennis, I'll also do this, and it feels like, oh, I'm just doing more stuff. When am I ever going to take time off? And I've heard that so many times. How do you speak to people who are like, I mean, there's a saying, if you want something done, give it to a busy person, right?
yeah, exactly.
Because it gets done, right? So, I mean, I understand that. Yet, when you're in a position of having, you decide, okay, it's time to make some changes in life now, but you can't see where to start. How do you talk with those people?
Yeah, and I get those people
Of
too. I just
course.
had somebody come into one of my I teach these strength training classes because, of course, building muscle protects our bones, which creates longevity and all kinds of, our lymphatic system. There's so many reasons why we should lift heavy things, but she hadn't exercised in years. And one of my clients brought her into my class. Sorry, that's my dog. And um, she she's going through a very stressful divorce. And financially, she's had to move recently. Divorce itself is a loss, and there's a mourning period. And what happened was she gained probably 40 pounds. in this last year of all the stress that she's been, and she is a professor at a local college. I think she's a professor of English literature, and she was too afraid to get started. So she was too afraid to come into the class because she felt like she had gone down the rabbit hole and there was no climbing out of it. And my client was able to say, listen, you're going to like the class. She'll meet you where you're at, even though there's other students in there. And it's fun. One thing she likes to do, she liked to dance. So I kind of knew that ahead. And that's part of our warm up was we put the music loud and everybody, it's kind of like the old school Jane Fonda aerobics warm up. And right away, that just gets the energy up. It also gets our blood pumping, our muscles warm, it gets us ready to rock and roll. And all of a sudden I saw she came and she came up front. My client was next to me up front, and then she was on the other side, and we're in front of a mirror, and I could see her, and all of a sudden she lit up. And did she keep up with everything we did? Not exactly. Did she try? She tried. And that would be my message is it's never too late. No matter how far down that hole you think you are, there's a way to climb out. Seek the help of the people that you can count on, kind of, or the things that sound good to you. Like my client is a therapist, and their friends through her therapy techniques, she was able to not convince, but talk her into, just give it a try, just give it a try. And so it was her talking to my girlfriend that helped she knew intuitively she needed help. She talked to somebody about it. That somebody took her to the right place to get a start. Am I the end all? Of course not. There's lots of other things that, people and things to help her, but she's now on a road. And it's like anything. I mean, I don't care if you're an actor and learning a script, a singer, learning your dance routines, or what field you have to rehearse and practice and work your way up to something. It doesn't just happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. So I feel like sometimes those shows like The Biggest Loser that was on for a while are really a false sense of how quickly you can lose weight or change a lifestyle of bad habits to good habits, because it's really a competition and you're working with these coaches that are drilling you, and it's not a healthy way you want to have sustainability, and that's not the way to go about it. But the small steps, and if you're willing to give it time to see the changes, to feel the changes, then you're going to see a different kind of life, and you're going to be on a different road to longevity. And it's going to help her also through the stressful times. Like, I'm someone who's gone through a really contentious divorce, so I understand that loss. I understand that stress. I understand. I took the opposite. I didn't gain the weight. I lost the weight, and I just didn't look or feel healthy because I had adrenal fatigue because I was living on adrenaline, and which is what happens when you're in the fight or flight mode, as we know. But I sought help, plus I had some skills behind me, and I went back to school to study nutrition. So that helped me as well to get out of the rut of depression. So just start, find the
Yeah,
people who
just
can
start.
help you, you
Yeah,
know?
and how do you, like, there's things that some people, I was thinking, I talked to my sister and she gets up early in the morning to do one thing or another, right? She's so like ambitious, and she's in her 60s, and she's doing all these things. And I was, how do you get the energy, or how do you create the habit where you don't have to think anymore, but you just do it,
Yeah.
because once I mean, you're right, after a while you feel better, so then you want it, right? It's like, like with eating proper food, and real food, and cooking at home. I mean, like, I could never, I've been raised that way, that's how I do things. I could never eat junk if you put it in front of me. It would be disgusting to me, right? So it would be no effort for me to eat well, right? So that's how I've been trained. Whereas, for example, exercise, I'm like, I just really I don't want to do
Yeah.
this. So what do you do to people like that?
So I have a saying. So yeah, then I have people that are the opposite. So I have people that can't get the food thing down but love to move. And it's really difficult to move if you're if you're not eating well. Like the movement isn't going to do it. Like abs are made in the kitchen, not in the classroom per se. So you have to kind of work hand in hand with both. So I have a saying, especially for those people that I deal with their food issues. There's this thing called crowding out, and it's crowding out the bad stuff and slowly but surely putting in the good stuff. So this works with diet, in that you can find substitutions on a healthy choice, a non-processed choice for just about any craving, any types of foods that you like. There are ways to work around it, but you got to crowd out slowly but surely. So you're starting to eat more. Your plate becomes a bigger portion of fresh things and a less portion of the junk that you're used to until you crowd it right off the plate.
What would your life be like if you were pain-free? If you were one of the millions who suffer from chronic pain, the thought of just one day without it may seem impossible. This is often because conventional medicine tends to fall short in the treatment of pain, opting to prescribe pills or recommend surgery rather than getting to the root cause of the problem. But if you are suffering with emotional or physical pain, there is hope. Join the founder and CEO of Bowen College, Manon Bolliger, live online for your body-mind reboot. Learn how to listen to your symptoms and get to the root cause of your pain. Plus, be trained in basic Bowen therapy moves so that you can reboot your body for optimal health. You don't have to live in pain. You can heal. Stop the pain pill cycle by visiting www.yourbodymindreboot.com to learn more and to register.
With exercise, I always say to people, let's find something you like. And sometimes, and you can see this with children because I have a 4-year-old granddaughter, so I'm watching it all over again. But they try a lot of things when they're young. They tried lots of, like, my granddaughter swims, she does gymnastics, she does ballet, she's sort of she does yoga, she's sort of all over the place. But where we see that she's excelling is ballet and gymnastics. So dance and gymnastics kind of go hand in hand. And we see her light up in that. And that's probably where she's going to funnel into. It's no different when you're older and you feel that you're sedentary and you're not really moving as much as you think you should or would like. I suggest, just because your friend is going for a walk every day doesn't mean that you want to go for a walk every day. So my suggestion is to try different things. And it could be a dance class, taking a swing class, a salsa class. It could be hiking. It could be cycling. If you don't like outdoor cycling, it could be indoor cycling, which I've been teaching for 30 years now, and going on 30 years will be 2026, so 29 years. And and I have people that are diehard indoor cyclists, and then I have people that won't touch indoor cycling because they love outdoor cycling. And there's tennis. I've been a tennis enthusiast since college, and I make sure I play at least once a week. Did I know I was going to like it? Had no idea until I picked up a racket. No idea. Now the new thing, pickleball, So one of my best friends gets up early every morning and she swims. You're not going to get me near a pool at 5 a.m. No way, no how. I don't like cold things. I take hot yoga, that's fine. You know, I'm not, and I'll maybe do a cold plunge but I'm not going to stay in cold water. I just, swimming early in the morning is not for me, but it's for her. So, and it works, and it's creating this longevity for her. It's going hand in hand with the other healthy things that she does in her lifestyle. So, just like a toddler would, I say you got to try something. Like, what is it that you find yourself liking to do? What kind of sparks you?
No, I think I took movement for granted because I moved so much. At work, I was constantly going room to room to room, and then it was just natural to move. And then not moving has become kind of natural too, because now
You're not doing it.
I'm reading more, I'm, finishing up books, I'm what I'm called to do, and I don't have issues or pain from it. I watch carefully whether I am going to get up and go, oh, like that old age.
Right, right.
I'm in my mid 60s, but it hasn't been a problem. But I can see that it's going to be interesting to find something that I really, and I think the key, I think you said it, is something that as a toddler I would love, or what I would love to do. And probably that's dancing. I mean, I used to dance, when I was cooking, right? I used to put music on, and because I love cooking, and and I do everything from scratch, so it takes time,
Yes.
and so, that why not put music and dance? And that would be natural movement that I wouldn't notice probably. I think it's the
You burn calories, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you move. Your lymph moves, all the things that 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 are necessary. But I just it's interesting. I see people who are scheduled, and I
yeah.
hate schedules. I
Mm.
I just, now that I'm retired, I don't want any schedules. I just don't want anything that has to be on a Tuesday or has to be on a
Yeah.
Wednesday. So I think
But
I'm having, that 2-year-old crisis,
yeah, but you still could say to yourself, and this isn't really scheduling, it's more lifestyle. Every day I'm gonna break a little sweat. And
Right.
whatever that may be, whether it's dancing in the kitchen or the living room, or taking a walk with a friend,
Mhm.
or any of the other things that I suggested, which there's millions more, but just a commitment to something, as opposed to scheduling, this is what I'm going to do this day at this time,
Right.
but commit to the movement, because
Yeah.
movement is so, it's so
It's essential.
important to longevity. It just creates, it gets everything flowing, because being in my, now I'm in my late 60s, but being of a certain age, as we start to age, especially over 45, 50, everything slows down, including our heart rate. When your heart rate slows down, it slows other systems in your body down, including your digestive tract. So what you're trying to do is stimulate, and you know this from what you do, but you're trying to stimulate your blood flow to all
Mhm.
of your organs, so everything can do its job properly, and that we
Right.
can detox, the detoxification we go through when we sleep at night, the reset can happen properly, and all
Mhm.
the toxins leave us, and that way we don't become an inflammation, vehicle for
Right.
disease, because that's where it starts. So
Yeah.
getting the movement in would be the commitment without the schedule, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that also focusing, like you said, on something you like, I love the visual if I was a toddler, it's like,
Yeah, because we
because
we
yeah,
throw them into things, and they tell us
exactly.
a
And
lot.
they find out, yeah. Yeah,
And
no.
that's kind of the, it could be rock climbing for all you know, but it's something. It's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's one of those things that, if, it could be kickboxing. I see we do for Parkinson's at one of the studios I work at. It's called Boxing for Parkinson's, I think, or something like that. It's actually national known organization where they train trainers to work with Parkinson's patients who
Mhm.
come in groups, and they do like a 45-minute kickboxing class, boxing and kickboxing, because the movement is so important
Yeah.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
that disease. And these are people that may have not moved their whole lives, are
Yeah.
loving it. They love it
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they have a sense of community.
Mhm.
They're moving, so they're feeling better, and it's fun. There's a lot of joy in it. So, and would they have ever thought of that? Probably not. But
Yeah. No, and I think it's true, and it's also just becoming conscious, asking the question, because most of the sports I did, it was for my children.
mm,
So I learned to skate, I learned to ski, I've done all these activities for their good.
right, right.
So now they're adults and they have their own children, and it's like, I don't know, there's none of those that really, appeal to me, like, so
So you got what appeals to you. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I love to dance, but I ended up doing 10 years of the Nutcracker and getting into ballet and dance
Wow.
because
Jeez.
my daughters were classically trained ballerinas. And like you, I was waiting around all the time. So they offered me a job at the dance studio. And I have a whole other story, but I have a degree in theater. So I taught the drama section at the Performing Arts Studio to kids and adults for
Mm,
about 10 years. And while I was working there, I ended up in the Nutcracker. So I learned how to dance, and I didn't realize I'd like it so much. And I did.
right. Oh,
I
interesting.
wasn't trained like my kids were trained because they started 2 years old, but, it was like that you go where your kids are, like you did, and that's what I did, and it felt great, felt great to, be on a big main stage with them.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
The
Yeah.
Nutcracker was, those memories will and
Yeah.
videos will never leave. So,
No.
but as an adult, you come into your own and you find what suits you, what works for you. I tried everything from step classes to cardio kickboxing, the Taibo stuff, the aerobic stuff. I was used to go to Jane Fonda's studio. I live in Los Angeles, so I used to go to Jane Fonda's studio and I tried that. That wasn't really exactly my cup of tea, but I tried it. And then I think a cardio kickboxing and indoor cycling is what really stuck with me. And I ended up becoming, the first year I did cycle classes, I became an instructor.
Mm,
And I've never stopped. I've worked probably 15 to 20 studios around the city, so
mm,
in different areas that I moved, and privately taught cycle classes. Continued to do it during the pandemic to those that bought bikes at home. And I'm
yeah.
on an app called TurboFit where people can log on and take a class with me anytime they want.
Oh,
They're all
great.
archived. So, but I found this, I don't know, it was like the endorphin high. I was
Right.
addicted, it was like, whoa, I can do this. And it's a bit of dance because you do it to music. So it's a bit of dance
Yeah, yeah.
along with a bit of, not a bit, but a lot of cycling. Those techniques put
Mm,
together are fun. It's just fun to me. And then my oldest daughter, who is a classically trained ballerina, she segued in her late 20s to becoming a yoga teacher because yoga is part of a ballerina's background, and hot yoga is her specialty, and she teaches teachers to be teachers. And she enticed me to start around 3.5 years ago to come to the studio that she works at and start taking hot yoga. And I thought, I hate this. I don't like this. I'm not staying in here. But what it did for me was it got me closer to my adult daughter.
mm,
It grew on me. And now I take 4 hot yoga classes a week, and I
wow.
love it. I love it. Creating a different kind of longevity because I'm
Yeah.
putting my body into hormesis, that, or not hormesis, but that state where like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger kind of
Right,
state.
right.
And
Yeah.
the kind of 120-degree yoga class could really get to you, but it's making me stronger and I love it.
Yeah.
So I encourage you.
Yes, yes. I think I will. We're different in our choices for sure. I'd rather
And I
swim
love it.
freezing thing, but that's what it is, right?
It's
It's to
finding what
think
you
about
love.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just don't know. I remember when kids would drop out of ballet to go be a baseball player, to play,
right. Totally different.
t-ball,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Soccer was a big
yeah.
thing, and that worked for them, and some continued to play and get scholarships in college, and you find your thing, your place.
Exactly. And there's so many choices. I mean, that's the bottom line, right? So,
It is. There are, and you just have to it's just, I mean, taking the initial step to
right.
research and then go do it, grab a friend. Statistically, we're more likely to stick with something,
Somebody else.
including a
Well,
lifestyle diet change if you do it with a friend. So,
sure, of course. Yeah.
as long as you have like a community, whether it be your husband, your wife, your kid, your
Yeah,
neighbor, just find somebody who
definitely.
is like-minded that would want to do it with you.
Yeah. Well, Debbie, our time is already up, but I just want to give you like a closing minute if you want or how do people reach you or watch your videos now? Maybe you could share that again to make sure.
Oh yeah, I'd love to. So I have a website. It's called Balanced Life, balanced with an ED, life, one word, with Debi. Or my website is Balanced Life by Debi, spelled DEBI.com. And there it will take you everywhere. It will, there's a way to get in touch with me because I do a little consultation. So it will say click here for a free consultation for health coaching or physical training, whatever it is that I do. I work on Zoom, I work in person, I can work with you anywhere in the world you want. So that's the way to reach me. It will take you to my YouTube channel, which is all of my podcasts on health and wellness, and my amazing guests are archived there. And it will also take you to my Instagram page and my Facebook page. And those for March, which aren't up yet, I've been filming content that you can do for free and easy to do workouts in your own living room or space with little to no weight. And that could get you moving too. There you go.
Perfect.
So I'm putting those up. I'm just editing those right now. We film once a week for the content for that week, and we're launching it in the beginning of March. So
Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing that. And yeah, I look forward to sharing our interview.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I do so much. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us at the Healers Café. If you haven't already done so, please like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on, as I post a new podcast every Wednesday with tons of useful information and tips for natural healing that you won't want to miss.